unexplained weight loss, change in bowel habits, mood swings, and menstrual irregularities. What is common to all of these symptoms? This month is globally recognized as a Thyroid Awareness Month. And I think it's important to talk about thyroid disorders. It's very common but often misdiagnosed and underreported. In this series, we'll be looking at various thyroid conditions that are common in our population. And I believe you may have one person or the other that has a thyroid condition. Or maybe you have one and you don't even know. It will be an opportunity for you to reflect and to have this information that will guide you and help you to be able to manage your thyroid disorder. Welcome to 24/7. Also, during the first week, after that particular food you've learned important things from the beginning of the last time. Welcome back to 247 Head Matters. I'm your head coach, Dr. D. It's my pleasure once again to be with you. Like I told you, we are looking at thyroid disorders. What if I told you that a very tiny nutrient that is even required in the body in a very tiny proportion is responsible for the intellectual potential of a child? This tiny nutrient, the trace element, is called iodine. So when we want to talk about thyroid disorder, we cannot but talk about iodine, because the iodine is at the root and the foundation of thyroid hormone, which controls so many functions in the body. About 30% of the world population are iodine deficient. I mean, across the globe, from Asia to Africa to Europe, this condition is very common. It's common among the middle, the low-income communities, and it's more common in flood-prone or erosion-prone areas, in mountainous areas like Himalayas, or in Africa, in Nigeria, for example, the mountainous area like the place called Iodine, Ondo State. It's also common in inland areas that is far from the sea. The reason is because seafood contains significant amount of iodine. So people who live in landlocked areas are also prone to having iodine deficiency. The trace element, iodine, is responsible for the production of thyroid hormone. There are two types of thyroid hormone. One is called T3 and T4. And this thyroid hormone regulates so many things in the body, including protein synthesis, growth, metabolism, enzyme activity. It is critical, especially in the early years, in the fetus and in the early years, for bone maturation and also brain development. Another important information about iodine is that the only organ that actively concentrates iodine in the body is the thyroid gland. That's a very, very important information. And also, kindly note that iodine is not produced by the body. It's only available for you through the food that you eat. So if you live in an area or a community where the soil is iron depleted, then the amount of iron that you have will be very low. And this is one of the reasons for iron deficiency globally. So let's look at the role of iodine and, by extension, thyroid hormone in different ages. Like I said, in the fetus and also in the early life, like between the first 2 years of life, iodine and thyroid hormone is responsible for brain cell migration and also the brain cell interconnectivity. So in essence, it's very essential for brain development and cognitive function. In early life, it's also responsible for growth. So that means children who lack iodine or who are iodine deficiency are likely to have intellectual disability, and they are more likely to be small in stature. In adults, iodine and thyroid hormone are responsible for energy regulation, that's your metabolism, and also for temperature, heart rate regulation, and it's also responsible or determines fertility and pregnancy outcome. The next question you want to ask is, where can I get, or what are the sources of iodine. The first and most important is fortified food. More commonly, now we have our salt iodized, and this is a WHO recommendation. This singular intervention has had significant impact on iodine deficiency and its outcome in many populations. The next source of iodine is seafood. You have it in tuna fish, in seaweed, in shellfish, and of course, you also have it in dairy products, the milk, yogurt, cheese, and eggs. But you have got to be very careful where some people will say, okay, it's in salts, but fancy salts like rock salt and sea salt has been shown not to contain a lot of iodine, so you have to be very careful. Now, how much iodine do you need daily? Your recommended daily allowance is about 150 microgram for an adult, and for pregnant women, and also for lactating mothers, because they require much more, at least maybe up to about 30 to 50% more. So they require about 250 microgram daily. Iodine deficiency is responsible for goiter, or what we call the demi-goiter. That's the enlarged thyroid gland that you find in many communities. It's also responsible for low underactive thyroid, that's hypothyroidism. And it also, as we have shown, especially in the young, in the fetus and in the early life, it's also responsible for cognitive impairments, intellectual disability, which can affect learning capability of children. And if not corrected, as a matter of fact, can lead to permanent brain damage. Then the next question is that can too much of iodine be harmful to the body? Yes, indeed, it can be harmful. As a matter of fact, quite a number of people take herbal products or supplements that contain too much of iodine. And this can cause so many thyroid dysfunction, including underactive thyroid, overactive thyroid, and goiter. So you've got to be careful when you buy that supplement or that herbal product. You need to be sure that it doesn't contain too much of iodine. In this series on thyroid disorders, we've been looking at iodine, which is the raw material that the body uses to make thyroid hormone, one of the most significant hormones in the body that controls your metabolism, your brain development in children, and also growth in the early life. I've told you the various sources of iodine, and that you can also take too much of iodine and what too much of iodine can cause. Next time, we'll be looking at underactive thyroid, which is very prevalent in our society. If you have underactive thyroid, you know somebody who has underactive thyroid, please let them join us in the next session. And I believe you will learn one thing or the other. Till next time, I'm your host and your coach, Dr. D. Remain healthy. And don't forget to hit on that notification button so that you can get more content from us. And also like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.